Hey everybody, this is Way to Fail, and today we are spectating Scrolls, a game between Sepharine and some guy named Blinky. Don't really know for sure, but this is going to be an order versus energy matchup, at least if the spectator thing is to be believed. But right away, Seph, who I'm going to call you from now on here, getting a interesting opening hand, kind of a late opening hand, whereas Blinky, what is this deck that I'm seeing here? State Machines, looks like it's a Gravelock inspired deck. You would do that if you had Yoo-Hoo on there, but he likes his hand, so he's holding on to it. So excuse me for that. Surprises all around. Seph getting rid of the roasted bean potion. Going to be trying to get to the Arbalister eventually, but Blinky may have the faster play here, especially with Gravelocks if he can get a bunch of them out. So I like the Gravelock guard because their pillage can be very effective, especially if you don't have a lot of things on the board. Seph with a mangonel, but not too much else to play right now. Blinky just going, I guess, totally ham on structures right now. And the State Machine is really great if you can get it out early because it denies some of your opponent's plays. Not as strong against Order, whose units tend to have plenty of health anyway. So is this going to be a turn for a Gallant Defender? Probably, for want of anything else to play. Gallant Defender taking 1 damage, unfortunately, because of the State Machine. But that's just how things roll sometimes. So Blinky has another State Machine. He could try and double down on it, and that is exactly what he's going to do. Whew, 2 State Machines in one go. That is not pleasant, but 0 damage to the Gallant Defender because it has armor 2, because you have no more units than your opponent. So because these count as units as well, even though they're structure totems. So Blinky right now, 4 resources, going up to 5 resources, so I assume trying to build to a Violent Dispersal. Right now, Seph has not played anything that has put his board in danger at all. If anything, right now, Blinky could attempt to play, and it looks like it is exactly what he's going to do, is play Mr. Longnose. When the countdown is 0 on Longnose, you may set its countdown to increase current energy by the number of Gravelocks you control. Nothing scary about that at all. Not in a Gravelock deck, which likes to swarm people. But Seph has got to get something going on the board in a hurry here. Right now, there could be potential for a Mangonel tempo theft play, maybe. But you're not going to be able to steal the tempo from your opponent. You have to get it from yourself. So there's a second Gravelock as well. This could get some pretty nasty ramp pretty fast if Blinky likes to get rid of the Violent Dispersal, and that may be the right move here. Because these State Machines are not going to be around forever. And in fact, this one's going to disperse next turn, so elects to get rid of the Gravelock and gets a Gravelock Elder, so that sacrifice rewarded quite nicely. Power Trip as well, increase current energy by 6, which he can go ahead and do that for a card draw, but probably getting out the Gravelock Elder is the better, I don't know. I don't want to say better play because Blinky knows this deck way more than I do, but Gravelock Elder, and he's going to be tucking it away from the other units. So Blinky could potentially get 2 more energy, could power trip into a scroll as well. But typically you want to power trip into something. You actually want to play something, whether it's pumping forges, pumping giants. I really doubt Blinky's playing giants in this deck. But once again, potential for tempo theft, potential for speed, mangonel, which is a lobber, and they do have these descriptions here now, lobber 4 times. But we're going to have the Arbalister instead, which is going to take 2 damage, so that is pretty damn brutal. But its resonance, whenever you play a spell, its countdown is decreased by 1. So Seph has a lot of spells, but is he going to be able to get the value that he needs out of this? Right now, increasing energy, that's just so nightmarish. And Blinky is playing giants. Oh, this is going to be practically a hasted big-ass creature. And he has Machine Chant, and this is looking ugly for Seph in a hurry. I'm so sorry. I mean, the question is, does Blinky want to go ahead and drop the giant now? He might as well. He can get a free attack in. This Gallant Defender does have armor too, but it won't survive the Solemn Giant. So it's probably better than some alternatives. Machine Chant not going to do as much damage, but that is another ramp card. If he can get more structures out, it could be pretty nice. So there's Machine Chant to take out 1. Are we going to see the giant as well? I really want to see the giant, but we're going to get the Violent Dispersal as well. Blinky playing it slow. How could you? So 1 creature versus total board dominance, and Seph gets the Lord Knight, but without other units surrounding him, there's not a lot to do here. Speed Mangonel doesn't do a lot. Tempo Theft doesn't do a lot. right now, Seph really in a dicey situation here. And that poor state, those state machines just really tangle up units really early. And Blinky, yeah, this is pretty much your structure energy deck with charge coil, with all those things. Useless contraptions too, because why not? And Spark isn't going to get him a whole lot, but Spark and then charge coil could do some good, but you want the charge coil to go off first. So what do we get here? He could drop the Freak. It's not going to do a lot for him this turn, but it might in the turns to come. Does he just... I guess the question for me is, does Blinky just want to take control of the top and work from there? I know he wants to get rid of some of these units. You don't want to keep Rilorus around if you can, so... Structures everywhere! That's the plan today, and Spark as well. So he's going to hope for the 50-50. Since I doubt Seph is playing Imperial Resources, you don't see that card like you used to. And he'd be up to 7 or 8 if he could by now. So there's Righteous Partisan, which he gets an extra scroll, which is another Righteous Partisan. But is that really what he needs right now? What he really needs right now is a... not a miracle. He could speed Mangonel and do some damage up there, but that's not really a great turn to do. Effigy of the Queen, good card for order, especially versus energy. And I'm not exactly sure if the charge coil counts as physical damage or spell damage. They need to sort of update their text there, but we won't know. There's now a 25% chance instead of a 50-50 that the Lord Knight dies. But we do have another power trip and not too much to do with it other than ramp resources. So question now is, does Blinky play the Gravelock Elder and get 3 more energy, or is that more than he needs? He does have a Tick Bomb, which can be useful because we know Seph has... there we go. So there's the energy buff, and there's the power trip. So all that extra. Machine Chant as well, just for 2 damage. And there you go. 1 Lord Knight down. More Elders abound. What do you got, Seph? What do you got? Once again, Speed Mangonel, not the best solution. Ducal Skirmisher plus Speed, not gonna really do things here. He doesn't have all the resources in the world to really do a ton here. Maybe try and run away and recollect your board, but if you let your opponent just have all 4 top tiles, it's pretty much going to be a good game. At least he can bank on the fact that this unit has armor 2 right now. But that just means it's going to be able to survive a hit, and now they're not going to be able to be burned, at least for a little while, but... hate saying this. I'm so sorry for that. Seph kind of grasping at straws right now to keep this game in line. So there's another Ducal Skirmisher. Once again, the nice thing about the Effigy is that you can crowd your units around and protect it from direct damage. The thing that sucks is that Order really likes having its units bundled together to buff each other, and you can't do that with the Effigy there. So there is the Snargle Omelet. Snargle Omelet. There we go. Sift 2 Gravelocks from your library and draw one of them, and you got to see that flash up very briefly, so he gets another Gravelock Guard. Because why not? Let's get all the Gravelocks. So we get even more damage here. Remember, the Guard does random damage to random units when it does actually pillage. Which is why you saw the 0 count and the 1 count, because Effigy is a unit! Cool. You really want something more than what he's got right here. Once again, Mangonel not doing a ton. I haven't seen that in as many decks lately. Although it still is a viable play. The problem is just that because of these 2 Gravelock Elders, all these Gravelocks are just super powerful. So what has Blinky got at this point? Who knows? What does Seph have at this point? I don't know. I don't know where you start the comeback here from this. You got to do some damage. Yeah, I guess you got to hope for a second speed and do some speed Mangonel shenanigans 2 turns in a row. Could at least hit everybody back here. Maybe kill Uhu? I don't know. Said a 4-6 is a lot scarier with your 2 Gravelock Elders out there. Still very, very good cards. They were even good when there weren't all these other Gravelocks out there. Now they are just that much more powerful. So Seph taking time to get this together. And do we speed? We do not see a speed. So useless contraption being a good little wall, so not at all useless. And a decent potion of resistance, but no reason for Blinky to take that when he can sacrifice for scrolls. Get a second charge coil, go ahead and kill that unique unit. And that's just one thing that's so hard about so many unique units, if they don't have ward or anything, is that they just direct removal. Since so many people are playing energy, it's just, okay, I don't like that unit, bye. And here we go again, second charge coil. More energy, more Gravelocks. Things aren't dead yet. We're getting pretty close. So once again, Blinky going for board control here. Seph has gotta get something together. So he does have 2 mangonels. He can double mangonel in speed. He does have the 9 resources to do it now, because don't forget, mangonels will have the speed of other mangonels when you drop them. And is this going to do enough? It's going to do something. It's going to drop these down to 3, but it's not going to be able to take everything out. But still, you know what? That claws you back in the game. That gives you some plays. That gives you a chance. And that is damage. 1 idle down. I'm not sure what exactly that's going to do, but at least, you know what? Did some good work on the line here. These Gravelocks are not very happy at this point. And do you spark here? And if so, what do you spark? In fact, I think you can probably spark the Gallant Defender, because let's see here. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, doesn't have armor 2 right now. So that's one possibility. Gravelock Freak, solid play as well. I mean, he could just move the guard down and take these units out if he really wanted to. But yeah, at least double mangonel's still kind of a thing, but when you have units that buff the health of your other types of units. Or you want bloodline teams, so 1 mangonel down. And apparently, the Righteous Partisan, not nearly as much of a threat as a 3rd mangonel, the Troll mangonel, if you will. Waking Stones may be a little bit more useful of a defense here. Except Blinky is playing Tick Bomb, because you know energy just has to be a bastard like that. So if you do play Waking Stones, do you play them front and center right here and try and protect one of your idols? Because these guys are going to attack, and you're not going to be able to bust into that line for a while. The worst thing is that the Gravelock Freak is going to, if it takes any kind of damage, it decreases its counter, and you don't really want that. So that makes this line not as great to attack. Plus, it's a 5-8 right now. That's just stupid bad. Not bad for Blinky, bad for Seph. So it's here, more Solemn Giants. Getting rid of it though, so Blinky has Giants, it's just not choosing to use them. Is this a sudden eruption turn? He does have enough resources for it, and is not really in danger of a lot of other stuff. Could just take out a unit. But of course, don't forget, because of the Magic Armor 2, that sudden eruption you'll have to pay 2 more. So, not anymore. That's gone. Blessing of Haste, maybe just a little bit too late. And what do you do at this point? You got a Vanguard and a Skirmisher. It's not looking too pleasant. Because you've got to take care of those Elders in some way, shape, or form. And what's Order's reach at this point? Its reach comes from its relentless units. Ducal Skirmisher, Blessing of Haste, units that buff each other around it and trying to just go through the line right here. But this army of Gravelocks is marching forward. And it's not pretty. In fact, it almost looks like Seph is just saying, okay, this one idol is going to kind of be down. So does he just throw these 2 guys in as chump blockers? Or does he try and reconsolidate up here? Because it doesn't look like Blinky is playing any kind of Oculus Cannons. And it looks like Seph is going to double down on the top lanes. So that does count for a little bit. And the question becomes for Blinky. Where do you go from here? He can burn the Skirmisher and just 1-for-1 it. That may be better than getting rid of the Partisan, although the Partisan could come down and possibly do some damage. It's hard to say. Lots of options to be sure, as we have a little bit of chatty going on. And we have a lot of people watching this game as well, so hello those of you who are watching as well. Sudden Eruption for everybody. 2 damage to X random units. Now see, that's different from what I remember that spell being. So I apologize for that. Once again, look at me having to learn some of the cards. It's like, read the text. 2 damage to X random units instead of pay X to do damage. I guess maybe I was thinking of Magic the Gathering for some of those things like Fireball, but I don't know. Definitely a card you don't want to cast with the prior queen thing that was on the board for Seph. But Seph hanging around a little bit. I mean, you get your big guns out there, and you just kind of hope. But, oh, sudden eruption again. Not great. And Blinky does have the ability to do 2 damage to everything, or he can just Thunder Surge and hit 3 of these. But sudden eruption may be better. I mean, you can hold the Thunder Surges for another day. I mean, this one's just going to have 2 armor, whatever. You go for the other idols. Actually, in fact, 2 armor, you can just take it out. So this is going to be a board clear entirely. There we go. Other units attacking next turn, and... oh, not good. Is there any way that Seph can stop the onslaught that's about to happen? You can put the Arbalester down here. It's going to die. Nope, there is the end of the game. So Seph surrendering after Blinky's Gravelocks overwhelm his opponent. But that's it for now. This is Way to Fail. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the one derp in the, oh, what does this card do? But still, trying to catch up just a little bit, and saw an opportunity to squeeze in a game that I could actually watch and talk about a little bit. So hope you enjoyed it. See you all next time. Feel free, if you want to watch more videos or anything like that, subscribe or like. It's up to you, but thanks for sticking around. See you next time for more Scrolls action.